So let's get more on the prospect of Russia defaulting with Dr. Renaud Foucard, a senior lecturer in economics at Lancaster University's Management School. Thanks ever so much for coming on the programme. Now, I know there are various scenarios that could play out, and the market is basically expecting no payment. What will we know today?
Well, as of tomorrow, we should know if the payment has been actually done in US dollar. That would be the simplest outcome. This is, however, relatively unlikely to happen. So now, if the Russian government, as the finance minister has sort of pre-announced, is trying to make the payment in rubles, this would be a more contentious issue because there would need to be litigation. And also, you may be aware that with the sanctions, it's actually very unlikely that a Western company or government can actually get a payment in ruble paid by the Russian government. So in that case, we'll have to wait over the span of the next 30 days if there is some sort of agreement, but also to see the payments of Russian private companies, because there is the public debt of the Russian government, but also major companies, gas companies, but also banks, who will have to reimburse debt. And so as of today, what we know is that the market seems to price the default as being very, very, very likely. So if you are willing to buy now some Russian debt, you can have a very, very good price indeed.
What are the wider consequences of a Russian default to the wider global economy? I'm thinking back to Venezuela 2020. There wasn't much contagion. What's your view this time?
So there is one thing that is very peculiar with the Russian debt is that no one was expecting that 2 months ago. So Russian bonds were seen as very, very, very safe due to the steady stream of income from the natural resources of the country. And so it takes everyone by surprise. This being said, the size of the Russian public debt is 20% of the GDP, and Russia is not such a huge economy, and the private sector is big, but overall it would be something big, perhaps bigger than, say, Argentina, but it's quite unlikely to be seen as a complete contagion on the global economic system. I would expect it, of course, for Russian citizens to be something, of course, extremely, extremely bad, on top of everything they have to go through at the moment. Of course, the war, the fact that at the same time, imagine you're a Russian family right now, you have your children who are sent to war, who may die, kill people, you can not exchange your currency, you cannot buy anything from Western companies, and on top of that, the country is defaulting, which means that if you want to borrow money, it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult.
We've heard about these domestic economic measures that Putin wants to put in place. What else could he realistically pull out of his economic toolbox next?
Well, I guess at the moment, given the current sanction, it's extremely, extremely difficult to get people from abroad to invest. And I'm not talking only about Western investors. If you think about countries that are not directly subject to sanctions, such as China, if you're a Chinese investor, you may want to go and say, like, oh, look, there is money to be made with all those Russian assets at bargain prices. But it's still a very, very risky operation because the country may collapse at any moment. You will also be sanctioned indirectly because you are doing business with Russia. So at the moment, if you are the Russian government, the only thing you have in hand is rubles. And rubles may be worthless at any time. So they can spend a lot of money, they can print a lot of money, but inflation is very high, interest rates are already 20%. So it's a very, very difficult time indeed if you are just playing with the economy. Now, of course, there is something obvious that Vladimir Putin can do, is to try to buy peace, to somehow stop the invasion and then try to get some guarantees to put the economy back on track. But of course, it will be extremely difficult.
So peace will save the Russian economy. Renaud Foucard, thank you very much.